waiting to see here. I don't see myself. Hey, there we go. Hey, there we go. All right. How long have I been stumbling around and looking at shit? Apparently, it's been a while. Yep. All right. Well, hey, finally I figured. I'm still figuring out how to do this
Apparently
stuff.
It's been a while.
So don't mind me. Just stumbling through the void blindly.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, finally I figured. I'm still
turn
figuring
this
out how to do this
Apparently
stuff.
It's been a while.
So don't mind me.
Apparently having some
Just
chaos here.
I'll end up clipping this and then reposting the thing later on, just to clean up just to keep my beach clean. But hey, welcome to the mix, guys. We're going to be building some martial power characters today. I've got a Drunken Yoda, who is a designer that builds stuff for DMsGuild and on ttrpg for 5e content. Is going to be playtesting a five-room dungeon next week around this time, and I get to he's letting people just playtest stuff. So I'm going to build a Dwarven Earthbender Fighter Battlemaster using the mechanics from the Martial Powers document that we've been producing. So give me a second here. We're just gonna build a fighter dwarf. So let's see. Let's get to the front end of. I'm gonna build a character, and you're gonna see how earthbending works, and you're gonna see how martial powers works, and you're gonna see how Battlemaster works. So we're just gonna do one step at a time and get ourselves into. How about just dwarf? Since I can't frickin' find it in the drop-down menu, we'll just, I guess, make a dwarf. So. Dwarf skeleton, dwarf, races. Here we go, dwarf. Earthbenders for dwarves seems pretty natural. So let's see some of the cool stuff that a dwarf gets. It's been a while since I've made one. Gold, God's going scum. Don't care. Don't need your names. Don't care. Don't care. Com +2. Dwarf, Earthbender, Fighter Battlemaster. I pre-prepped some stuff. So dwarf equals +2 con. Size, okay, fine. Speed 25. Dark vision 60. Dark vision 60. You have advantage against poison. Dwarven resilience. Dwarven advantage. ADV save versus poison. And you have resistance against poison damage. Resist poison damage. You have proficiency. Prof. Axe hammer. Battle axe, hand axe, war hammer, light hammer. Tool proficiencies, tool proficiency. Tool proficiency is you gain proficiency artisan tools of your choice. Smith tools, brewer surprise, or mason tools. Let's go with mason tools. Since I'm an earthbender, that makes the most sense to me. Stone cunning. Whenever you make an intelligence history check related to the origins of stonework, you are considered proficient in this history skill and add double your proficiency bonus. Okay. Expertise in int history involving stonework. And languages. Common, dwarf. whatever language. Grey Dwarf. They don't need the Gruger. Mark of Warding Dwarf. Don't need that because we're not playing Eberron. As a Mountain Dwarf, you're strong. Don't need that. Okay, cool. So that's a dwarf. And we can go back to the top and we can go into fighter. All right, we've already pulled the things that we need for the fighter, I think, for the most part. Proficiency, you get hit points on 5th level. So I'll have hit points as 10 plus 40, 10 plus 5 times my constitution bonus because of 5th level. Proficiency in all armor and shields. I have proficiency in all simple and martial weapons. I'm proficient in saving throws, both strength and con. Proficiency in skills of athletics and perception because of those are the 2 that I chose. And I chose Battlemaster. So Battlemaster has the beep 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 Battlemaster features. Student of War, there you go. It's a skilled feat, which means I gain 3 proficiencies, one of which must be a tool. So I went with Thieves' Tools, and so I'm proficient in Thieves' Tools. I also took Investigation and Persuasion, but I think I already get the history bonus with the Stone Cunning, so I'm going to go with that. Just keep that as is. And then, let's see, fighting style, I'm going with defense. Armor class is +1. I could change that in the future. Some of the features, okay, so, and then we have Second Wind, which is a bonus action. I can heal D10 plus 5 hit points once per short rest. And I have Action Surge, which is gain, I can gain an extra action once, during my turn once per short rest. I have Extra Attack, which is when I make the attack action, I can attack twice. And then I have an archetype, which is I've chosen Battlemaster. So let's look at the martial powers document here. This is for artificers, fighters, monks, barbarians, paladins, rangers, rogues, and warlocks. Artificers can swap out infusions to acquire power, and warlocks can swap out invocations to gain powers as well. We all use the general mana system that I have in Universal Spell Points document, as well as in the Color Mana Spell Point Variant Rule system. And if you're not familiar with that stuff, you can check in the link down below here, and you can open up the Color Mana Spell Point Variant Rule set here. That'll show you a stack of stuff. You can check out all this stuff. We're probably going to be making use of Elemental Key today because of the earthbending. But hey, if you're new to the channel and you think this stuff is cool today, I stream 10 or 11 times per week, depending on what I got going on. So like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications in the future. You can see all 127 episodes currently in production here. Well, we have 126 that are made, and this is episode 127 here in the playlist. So you can check that stuff out. And so let's see, looking at martial powers, as a fighter, we regain mana on a short rest, kind of like a monk would regain ki. And so at 5th level, we'll have 5 points of mana. And we're going to use the elemental paradigm for this particular character. Specifically, we're going with earthbending. And so once we actually get into character building down below, I'll walk through that process. At 5th level, we will have 5 martial powers that we can prepare. We also have a feat, so I'm going to keep that in mind. Action Surge, feat, and I don't know what my stat array is going to be. So, let's see, dwarf, blah, let's go with SDCIWA. +2. PB is +3. And I'm proficient in strength and constitution, so I'll get a +3 to those whenever they come into clip. I'm not sure what our stat array is, so we'll find that out once we're finished with the, once Daryl gets us into, Drunken Yoda gets us into the test. But regardless, powers are like spells, but they're different. It's spell-like effects, either instantaneous, or sustained effects that are like concentration aura effects. Almost everything that uses power uses a power die, which is like a superiority die from Battlemaster. It's also like a bardic inspiration die, and to an extent, it's like a proficiency die. So at first level, you'd have a D6. At 5th level, we'd also have a D6. And we won't advance to a D8 until 9th level. And at 17th level, it becomes a D10. The maximum rank of power that we can channel instead of maximum level of spell that we can cast. At 5th level is 2. It has half casting progression. So at 5th level, we have second rank powers, and we can channel up to 2 mana at the same time, which also means I can sustain 2 mana worth of sustained aura concentration effects. Let's see. Generally, like if I spend a point of mana, it would give me a power die to boost, whether it's attacking, damage, or an ability check. If I spend 2 points of mana, I get the boost. I get 2d6. But if we're looking at like proficiency, like we're looking at ability check bonuses or attack bonuses, you would take the highest die result only, and you would scrap any of the extra. So most of the time, it's worth only rolling, spending 1 mana to get an extra die, unless it's something that's really important, and I want to spend more mana than just 1 to have a chance of getting better than a 1 if that were to come up. But only when it's really crucial would I want to do that. Let's see. I'm going to kick down here to the fighter. Most of the stuff I already have built into my character sheet, but we're doing kind of a walkthrough. We took all of the classes and we added class features or changed class features to jive with the martial power system of every character having a mana resource, so that allows us to make some alterations to stuff. We've made changes to every subclass that Wizards of the Coast has published. And once the 2024 Player's Handbook comes out, I anticipate that we'll be making further alterations from there and continue to update the document as new 2024 content rolls out. So clipping down through the barbarian, we should be getting into the fighter. Here we go. Okay, so mana. As a first level character, you gain, or as a first level fighter, you gain 1 point of mana, and you gain an additional point with every level up to 20 at 20th level. So in 5th level, so I currently have 5. Beginning at first level, I also learned 2 first rank powers from the martial power list in section 3 down below, which we'll look at, and I gain an additional power every time I gain a level. So currently at 5th level, I have 6 powers. My saving throw is going to be 8 plus my proficiency bonus plus either my strength, dex, or intelligence. So I'll probably go with strength. I think strength and con are going to be my good stats, and the rest of them are probably going to be dumpy. So yeah, strength is DC is going to be 8 plus my proficiency bonus, so I already know it's 11. And strength will be my modifier once I figure out what that is. Variant class feature, Channel Vitality, modifies second wind at first level. We already have this on our character sheet, which is when you use second wind, you can also regain a number of spent mana equal to the max rank of power gained as a fighter. So when I use Channel Vitality, not only do I get D10 plus 5 hit points back on a short rest, but I also regain 2 points of mana that have been spent. And currently I only have 5, so that's a really useful thing to have access to. And optional class feature, Empowered Maneuvers. Beginning at first level, when you take the attack action, you can forgo any number of attacks to reduce the cost of channeling a maneuver as a bonus action by 1 mana for each attack sacrificed this way to a minimum of 0. For example, if a 5th level fighter, like my Battlemaster, if I take the attack action, I could choose to forgo both of those attacks and then use a bonus action to get to reduce the cost of any maneuver that were used by 2 mana. So I could effectively channel a first or second rank maneuver for free by sacrificing attack and then spending my bonus action. So a second rank maneuver, basically the only thing I would do that round is move, have reactions, and then use that maneuver. If I don't want to eat up any of my attacks, I can just pay the full price. But again, right now I only have 5 mana. So if I can buy down the cost of maneuvers, I can do a shitload of maneuvers at the cost of action economy. My round as a player goes faster, my character retains their resources, and those maneuvers, which we'll see down below, are going to really benefit the rest of my team. So, hey, Super, how you doing, my guy? Yeah, it's pretty cool. Action economy. Okay, so in D&D, there's two types of resources. Things that are like points, or like you have like your proficiency bonus per rest is like one way that they give you resources, typically to martial characters. Casters have spell slots, or if you're using a mana point system, it would be a mana pool that you're spending points to be able to cast spells. That is also a resource. Hit points are a resource that when you run out of them, you stop playing the game. So that's not really a resource unless like a blood hunter, for example, can burn hit points to boost different rights or curses that they have. So that's kind of an off resource. That's more of like it's just hit points. You got to stay alive, but sometimes people can make use of them. Barbarians in this system can use their hit dice as mana. So they could burn hit dice to get extra mana if they wanted to. And then the other resource that's in the game is action economy. So what we did with martial powers is we blended action economy with the mana pool and, depending on your class, hit dice, so that you can merge them all together and be able to use them freely with each other. So I did just read over the color mana document. It looks really neat. Hey, great. I'm going to be going through a serious update on that. Once the 2024 Player's Handbook comes out in September, because they're going to be making changes to the classes. I suspect there's going to be opportunities for us to make the color mana system a little bit better. And definitely check out the revised color mana spell list. It's a pay what you want, but it just became a silver medal bestseller. It provides the actual core mechanics books and the Knight and Tricksters books provide only one option for like what color mana you would spend. But the revised color mana spell list provides options for multiple spells based on it, and we provided a lexicon as to like what defines what color you can use, and we break down each spell by damage and aspect of magic to determine how many different colors it uses. But today we're not going to use color mana. We're going to use earthbending from Avatar: The Last Airbender. So we're making a Dwarven Earthbender. So we'll get into that once we get past the fighter mechanics here. So we're making a 5th level character. So, as must we all expect, all the homebrew stuff is going to need to be redone. Yeah, luckily, but my art and my layout skills have improved quite a bit since I created the core mechanic book and the fighter, the Knights and Tricksters books. So I think there's actually a really great opportunity for me to make those books look even better. I still like the book covers, but I think I can do a lot better with the text that's inside the book, and I can integrate the revised color mana spell list into the core mechanics in Knight and Tricksters book. So there's some glamming up I can some glam ups I can do for those books in general, and just add better value and make them relevant for 2024 moving forward. I think we're going to see more MTG stuff in the future, so I want to future proof. So maneuvers. So there's exploits, which modify your die rolls and movement. There's reactions, which are reactions, including like opportunity attacks and stuff like that. There's strikes, which is like a wide array of different types of divine smite abilities. Like when you hit something on hit, you can spend mana to deal extra damage and cause like a condition effect. There's sustained powers, which are personal concentration effects, kind of like personal auras or enchantment auras from Magic the Gathering cards. When I turn this on, I can maintain concentration to sustain the effect, and like I get haste or whatever. Like I become invulnerable, or I become invisible. Blah blah blah. There's different sustained effects I can do, and then there's exploits, maneuvers. I think we're up to 4. Maneuvers are like spell-like effects, kind of like the Battlemaster has maneuvers as Battlemaster maneuvers. These are things that target other people. They could also target yourself, but they target a creature, either yourself or somebody else, and they can be triggered. The strikes trigger when you hit something, and then you can decide to spend mana to boost that hit. Maneuvers can be cast or channeled as an action or a bonus action. You can do it as both, and you could potentially use the same maneuver twice in the same round if you're willing to spend the resources and the action economy to do so. So I could trigger a maneuver twice in the same round as an action and as a bonus action, and if I spend my action surge, I could potentially do it a third time. So fun stuff like that. So the ability, so instead of using an action or a bonus action and spending mana to do it, these empowered maneuvers let me instead cash in my attacks during my attack action to reduce the cost of the maneuver that I channel as a bonus action, potentially making it free like a cantrip. So, and then the other thing that I have is empowered attacks. At 5th level, since I have multiple attacks, when I take the attack action, if I hit with my first attack, I could sacrifice my second attack to gain a free point of mana that I can spend on a strike. So if I hit you with a smoldering strike, then I would hit. Before I deal my damage, I could sacrifice my second attack, and then cash that in to apply the smoldering strike. At 1st level, I'm channeling with a D6. My power die right now is a D6, so if I hit with smoldering strike, my weapon damage and my D6 would deal fire damage if I wanted to, an extra D6 worth of fire damage that I tack on. But since I sacrificed my second attack, it doesn't cost me any mana. If I had 2 attacks, if I hit, I could spend up to 2 mana. Because I'm 5th level, I have a max cap of channeling of 2. I could spend 2 mana to deal an extra 2d6 damage on top of my weapon damage. And then if I hit again the second time, I could spend another 2 mana for 2d6 damage. And I've just spent 4 mana in one round, but I only have 5. So that's going to limit what I can do in the future. So I want to be restrained at the low levels of how hard I go into throwing mana at something, because everything I have is going to let me sacrifice action economy to get free maneuvers. So if I pace myself and I play smart, I can use maneuvers the entire adventure without having to take a rest at all, potentially never even touching my mana pool until I need it. And when I need it, it's useful to have. Reactions always require mana. Exploits always require mana. Sustained powers always require mana. So I can make maneuvers and strikes free so that I can have access to these other things as I need them. So that's the idea that goes on behind that. So let's keep kicking through. I don't gain any other features in the class at this time because I'm only 5th level right now. So let's go down and again, we rebuilt all of the subclasses and the archetypes so that you get a bonus power list. So let's go down to the Battlemaster and see how, I've done this for every published D&D class. So it's really important for me to see how it gets updated in 2024 to see what we do. So here's things that we get. At 3rd level, we got access to Ambush, which is a 1st level exploit. We got Coordinated Attack, which is a 1st level maneuver. And at 5th level, we got the Commanding Presence, which is a 1st rank exploit. And we got Disarming Strike, which is a 1st rank strike. We'll get, again, and the levels, it doesn't really, when we built this thing, we didn't really care about like 1st level, 2nd level, 3rd level, 4th level, 5th level. We didn't care about that. We went for theme and flavor based on what your character is capable of doing at these higher levels. So like the Purple Knight, for example, Pack Tactics at 13th level comes in useful because you're becoming a leader that's commanding other people to take actions. Being able to layer in Pack Tactics on top of that becomes useful. But none of these things mean anything because you haven't looked at the list yet. So I've already added the pre-baked powers onto my character sheet, and we can go take a look at those. And let's look at some of the other really cool perks that the Battlemaster gets. So, features, combat superiority. When you take this archetype, your power die increases from D6 to a D8. So looking again at the chart here, all characters start with a D6 power die, but because we took Battlemaster, when we got to 3rd level, our D6 now becomes a D8, and at 9th level, our D10, our D8 would become a D10, and at 17th level, our D10 becomes a D12. So Battlemaster uses power better than any other fighter in the game, basically. And then we have Student of War, which we also got at 3rd level, which is you gain the Skilled Feat, which is 3 skills or tools, and we have to take 1 Artisan tool. So the Artisan tool, Artisan tool is what it says. So I can't, I took Thieves tools, and that's not a legitimate tool to take. So I think for artisan tools, what I think I'm going to take instead, these tools would have been really nice to have. Instead, what I'm going to use is, let's go with calligraphy. Because I think that's cool. Because I'm an artisan, being able to create filigree is useful. So I have stonemason tools, and I have calligraphy. So proficiency skills, let's add stonemason tools, which is up here. Hey, I see some text happening. Let's see it. The purple, the classic blunder. Phil, agree. Well said, my man. Well said. I don't have a timer going. I really need to. I got a lot going on today. Where are we at? Okay, so I've got 40 minutes. That's perfect. So here's the proficiencies that I picked up. I took investigation and persuasion from the skilled feat that we get for Student of War, and then the calligraphy set. I'm going to put double asterisk down here. Thank you. Learning how to skill shot without looking. And then armor class is going to be +1. AC, HP, move 25, DV 60. That probably takes. I don't know what our stat lineup is yet. I'm going to assume normal stat array. I like to do 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6. So that I have a +3, +2, +1, 0, -1, -2 off the bat. But I think standard array is what? 14, 12, 11, 14, 12, 11, 10, 9. I'm not sure what it is. Anyway. Let's see. Second wind, so we have the channel vitality. Whenever I use second wind, I get 2 mana back. Action surge, I get my extra action. Bonus feat. Man. Extra attack, empowered attacks to reduce my costs. Archetype Battlemaster, Battlemaster feature, D8 power dice, Student of War. Total mana I have is 5 short rest mana. My DC is 11 plus whatever my strength modifier is going to be. Thank you. 15, 14, 12, 11, 10. Thank you. If that's going to be our stat lineup, I would go 15, 14, 10, 12, 11, 9. That's how I would set my shit up. 13, 15, 14, 13, 10, 9. I'll leave it there. There. We'll go with heavy armor. No, plate's an 18, isn't it? This is the worst fucking search ever. I absolutely hate how shitty D&D Beyond is at organizing. Look, it's not even fucking. I can't even just click on armor just to get normal fucking armor. It's the absolute fucking worst. Spent $500 million on this and you can't fix it? Come on, you toads. AC 18. So plate requires gauntlets, heavy leather armor, blah 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 blah, buckler, straps, etc. AC, warding. Cool. 18. Shield. Let's see. style is +1. AC equals 21. Thanks for the info, man. I appreciate it. Let's see. So we are 5th level, so we get 5 mana. We already know that our Battlemaster is advancing us to a D8 instead of a D6. We don't have to worry about know your enemy. We don't have to worry about any of that stuff right now. We already have our ambush, coordinated attack, commanding presence, and disarming strike. We got those 4 plus, because we're 5th level, I get an extra 6 maneuvers to choose, or 6 powers to choose from. So I'm going to have a total of 10 powers to choose from. So I'm going to grab here and drop down. This is for anyone that's interested in playing along. By the way, the Martial Powers playtest content is here on my Patreon. Martial Powers. It's a read-only document, but it's the same thing that we're looking at here. I have editing rights because it's mine, but anyone can look and read, and the thing is fully built and play-testable right now. So you can build whatever you want with it right now. So there's 209 total powers. 151 of them are disciplines that require the use of mana, and that means there's like 58 some odd powers that don't require any mana at all, like cantrips. 7 seconds, okay. Let's see. So what powers do we have? We have Ambush, which is a 1st level exploit. Ambush, when making an ability check that can use the stealth skill or when rolling initiative, roll 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest roll to your result. I'm going to roll a D8. So if we're going to start combat and I want to make sure that I'm going to go first, it may be worth it for me to use Ambush for me to get ahead. If I'm using the stealth, if my armor sucks, I'm going to be at disadvantage on my skills, on my stealth skills. Yep, I don't have that, so I'm clunky and loud, and that's cool. Let's see. So what is that down here? Ambush exploit 1 equals 1 PD per mana equals plus stealth or initiative. And we have Commanding Presence, which is also a 1st rank exploit. Commanding Presence is when making an ability check that can use the Intimidate, Performance, or Persuasion skill, roll 1 power die per mana channel, adding the highest roll to your result. Kind of like an inspiration die that we have a little bit more control over. Equals plus 1 PD per mana plus best PD per best roll 1 PD equals best roll 1 PD mana. So I can spend, at 5th level, I can spend 2 mana, but I can only use the best result. So most of the time it's only worth it for me to roll 1 mana, but I have to decide before I roll. So if it's really important to me, I might decide to spend 2 mana on it just to have an opportunity to get something better if a 1 rolls up. I could still double dot, and it's still going to fuck me over, but I have that opportunity. Let's look at coordinated attack. And again, a coordinated attack, this is a maneuver, and I can use that, and these go, here's all the different exploits that are here. There's a total of 36 of them. Interesting to note that no power goes above 4th rank, but your character is capable of channeling up to 5. So you're going to have access to everything that is in this document. Basically, all the powers you'll have access to by 13th level. But I did that specifically so that an Eldritch Knight and an Arcane Trickster that gains 4th level spells at 19th level could choose to channel powers alongside the spells that they learn. So you can freely mix spells and power using the same mana pool as an Arcane Trickster or an Eldritch Knight if you wanted to. Let's see. And it also just lets you get access to stuff earlier, and you can overclock it. So like it might cost 4 mana to channel a power, but you could put 5 mana into it to get 5 dice instead of 4 dice out of it, for example. Let's go look at what a coordinated attack can do. So go to the maneuvers. There's 29 of them currently. This is just the first book. So once this thing's published, we can start doing a lot of like rogue specialist stuff, like the Book of Demir. We could do the Book of Golgari. There's a bunch of... All right, back up. Up. Yep, looks like I'm back up. Mic check, mic check. Am I coming through? Mic check. All right. Coming through? Yeah, my Nvidia's my Nvidia crashed. All right. Yeah, my Nvidia crashed. That's super goofy. Yeah, all right, but hey, we recovered. So I have learned something by having a broadcast on my OBS. I can recover my stream. I am definitely going to have to reload and get rid of all the edits on this stuff. So let's, God bless, let's get back to work. Hopefully it won't crash again. OBS says it needs to do an update, and I'm wondering if this is what that update is. But hey, we're back. What a messy thing. Okay, cool. So where were we? We were looking at maneuvers. So let's go back, dive into the maneuvers. We were looking at coordinated attack. That's right. So it's a first rank maneuver. And I could use this as an attack. I could use this as an action and a bonus action, both of which would cost me 1 mana during my round. I could, using empowered maneuvers, I could use the attack action and sacrifice one of my attacks. And as a bonus action, get this for free. So as a 5th level character, I can make 1 attack and then use coordinated any of these 14 maneuvers at 1st level if I decide to learn them. So coordinated attack, what does that do? You can empower a target ally that can see or hear you to use their reaction to make an opportunity attack, rolling 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest result to the ally's attack against a target you and your ally can both see. So I could say, hey, as a reaction, you can make an attack on that creature, and here I'm going to roll a d8 and add that result to your die roll. There you go. Chances are it'll hit. And that's a super easy thing for me just to toss on if I'm not within reach of an enemy, but I have allies that are. Really useful if we have a rogue in the party and he wants to be able to set up a sneak attack and he's missed his attacks. I can just toss on a coordinated attack for him to be able to make a reaction to then be able to get that sneak attack. So really useful. Ally attacks target we can see. Best roll 1 PD per mana. Attack bonus. Now we have a strike, disarming strike. Let's see. Let's go down to the past the reactions. Into strikes. Lots of strikes. So, disarming strike. We get this one for free. Your weapon deals extra damage equal to 1 power die per mana burned. And the target must make a strength saving throw against your channeling DC, adding the result of the highest power die rolled, or the target drops 1 item of your choice that it's holding. The object lands at a location you choose within 10 feet of the target per mana burn channeling this power. So I can, if I made an attack and I hit with my first attack, I could spend 2 mana to deal an extra 2d6 damage, and then if I, 2d8 because I am a Battlemaster as a d8 die. Holy crap! If I rolled like a 3 and a 5, it would be an extra 8 damage, and the DC that it would roll, we already determined that we've got a DC 15, so that's going to be a +2. So it's going to be a +5. I'm probably going to end up taking a feat to bump that to 16. So I'm going to look out for a half feat that's going to allow that. Bonus feat equals half something. What does Sentinel feat do for us? I want a half. I want a half stat. Let's see. Shield Master. You don't if you aren't incapacitated. AC bonus, Skulker, Smell Sniper, Tavern Brawler, Tough. Increases Warcaster. You have practice spellcasting, bloody blah, Weapon Master. Increase your. You have practiced extensively with a variety of weapons. Gain the following benefits: your proficiency with 4 weapons of your choice. Each one must be a simple. I already have proficiency in everything, so that's not really useful. What else we got? Alert, athlete. Let's see. When you're prone, you can stand up. Only uses 5 feet of my movements. Climbing doesn't cost me extra movement. And you can make a running jump, long jump. When you're prone, athlete's a pretty good one. What else we got? Dual wielding, defensive, dungeon delver, durable. No. Elemental adept, grappler. No. Nope. Heavily armored. You're trained. You gain. I already have that. Heavy armor master. You can use your armor to deflect attacks that would kill others. You gain the following benefits. I can boost my strength by 1. That's good. While I'm wearing heavy armor, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage that you take from non-magical attacks is reduced by 3. That's okay. Yeah, let's go heavy armor master. Oh, I should check to see am I getting a chat feed in my stream? Yay! Did that come through? Yay! Yep. Fast latency. Okay, cool. So that's active. Good. I'm going to go with heavy. I'm going to go with the heavy armor. Heavy armor. Was it specialist or what's it called? Master. That'll give me the 16. Straight turn, armor classicals, DR3, and let's go down into fighter. Where is my mod? So my DC is DC is 14. Cool. Equals damage plus 1 PD per mana. STR, save, or drop held. DC equals best roll 1 PD. Or drop held. There we go. So those are the things I get for free. Now I get prepared powers. Okay, so while I still have time, because I am running out of time, I need to set a clock for another 20 minutes, and then I have to go. So, airbending, earthbending, elemental key. So what do we? How does this work? Let's get into that before I select more powers. So I want to spend a little bit of time looking at that because I think it's super cool. We'll grab this one and we'll drop down. Past the list. Here we go. Okay, the 4 magic. Okay, so how does this work? When we have mana, I forget what page it's on, but I'll just walk through it real quick. So we have 5 mana. There's 5 different disciplines. So we have exploits, we have maneuvers, we have reactions, strikes, and sustained powers. When we're using a magic paradigm, we could just go with generic, universal like key, like a monk uses, but we are getting a ton of options. So I want to, so we have a means of breaking up the exploits to use different pools. And since we're looking at earthbending, we're going to use the elemental paradigm, earthbending. So what I could do is, if we're really playing an elemental bending game, you could choose to have access to multiple elements, like fire and earth, or air and water, or earth and water, or whatever. You pick 2 elements, and whenever you're using a power, you are narrating how the mana that you use is being how your magic affects the powers that you use. So as an earthbender, for example, if I am using disarming strike, then when I hit my opponent, then the weight of my weapon intensifies, which causes him to causes his hand to get blown out of the way and causes a weapon to fly free. Or with coordinated attack, if I'm talking about earth magic, it could be that like a circle gets carved around that target, and then my enemy can hit it. Or with ambush, getting a bonus to stealth or or initiative. If it's a stealth bonus, when I step, the earth literally grabs and sinks into the ground, so I'm not making impact sounds as I walked. It's lessening the effect because it's seeping in. Or as an earthbender, maybe I'm a metal bender, so when I'm using a stealth skill, I'm softening my metal so that it isn't so clanky and scrapey together. It seals together and like becomes viscous, so it can slide together because I'm manipulating the metal of my armor to become quieter. These are different things I can play with, but that's only one element. I don't want to have like fire and earth, or earth and water. I just want to be one element of earthbending, but I also I don't have to break up my mana pools, but it's a playtest session. And if I was using color mana, I'd have to have 2 colors, like white and red, for instance, would be a Boros build, which would be pretty appropriate for a Dwarven Battlemaster. But I wanted to go with the earthbending paradigm, so I'm going to create 2 types of earthbending mana. I'm going to call it hammer and anvil. So I have 5 points total, and whenever I finish any rest, short or long, I get to determine how many points I have allocated to each. For hammer, I'm going to use strikes, reactions, and sustained. And for anvil, I'm going to use exploits, and maneuvers. It's both earth-bending magic. I'm just changing the flavor of them to work with what I want. So I've got 5 points. I think I'm going to want to use... I can get maneuvers for free anytime I need them with the bonus actions and stuff. So I suspect I'm going to need more strikes and reactions during my round of combat than anything else. So I think I want to put 3 points into hammer, just initially, and then 2 points into anvil. And notice that actually sustain can be used by both types. So you pick 2, sustain can use both types, and then you pick any 2 that you want for 1 type of mana and 2 points for the other. So hammer and anvil are the 2 dwarven earthbending power mana sources that we use. It's more flavor than anything else. There you go. I don't necessarily know yet how I would visually express or how I would express the different, like, I'm going to use a hammer as my weapon, of course, so that makes sense for the strikes and like opportunity attacks and stuff like that. But I don't necessarily know how anvil gets expressed. Anvil means durability. Things can bounce off of it. It creates strength for your party. So these are kind of buzzword flavor ideas. But that's how that layers in. So it's more just narrative flair than actual mechanics as to what the mana does. The important part is that I'm choosing two aspects to break up the disciplines so that I don't have just free unfettered use of all this stuff. Although I could if I wanted to, and if the DM lets you, you could just have universal key like a monk would have, and you can spend all your points on anything that you know how to do. But I want to challenge myself because it's a playtest, and I want to make sure that the low levels it jives as well as it does for the color mana system for spellcasters. It should be fine because I've been using color mana at my home table for about 5 years now, so it works great. So let's yeah. So we have exploits, which is that's an anvil technique. 2 exploits are anvils. We have maneuver, which is an anvil, and we only have a strike, which is hammer. Now I'm starting to think maybe I need to have 3 and 2. Maybe that makes more sense. We'll figure it out as we go along. I get to prepare. These are permanent. I always know these. They're permanently added to my list of powers, but I also get to prepare a bunch of powers, and some of them are for free. So let's go up and look at combat masteries. These are like weapon masteries that were proposed in the 2024 playtest documents, but these are things that you learn kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like cantrips. Thank you. They're like weapon cantrips. So I could pick any number of these. I have 6 to pick from, so I could pick some. So there's Step, which lets me shift my position 5 feet without provoking an attack of opportunity after a successful hit. There's Trip, which is the target makes a dexterity saving throw or it's prone. Creature size huge or larger are unaffected because they're just too big. Vex is target makes intelligence saving throw or it's at disadvantage on the next attack that it makes. Push, target makes a strength save or is pushed 5 feet. Grapple, for melee only. Target is grappled in addition to taking damage. Disarm, I already have that as a power, which I could drop to 0, but you can make a strength saving throw where the object held is dropped. And then Addle, which is make a concentration check, save, and if it fails, it can't make an opportunity attack. And then there's feats I can take. Instead of learning a power that costs any mana, I could just stack up a bunch of feats that I want to learn. Let's see. Great Weapon Master, Fighter Initiate, Mobile, Mounted Combat Piercer, Poisoner. Crusher is not a bad one. Let's look at Crusher. Oh my god, I can take Crusher and get a Strength of Con. That's cool. Once per turn, when I hit a creature with an attack that deals bludgeoning damage, like my hammer, I can move it 5 feet to an unoccupied space, provided the target is no more than 1 size larger than me. Nice. When you score a critical hit that deals bludgeoning damage, so on creature attack rolls against that creature are made with advantage until the starting. Okay. Crusher. I don't gain the strength bonus because I'm learning it as a feat, because I could prepare something different tomorrow. Or even after a short rest, I could swap it out. So I don't get to modify my stats with it. But I'm honestly thinking that Crusher is a better feat than the heavy weapon. Crusher. Yeah, I'm going to take Crusher. Crusher. So definitely taking a hammer. Super cool. And that just freed up one of our powers. So let's go back to our list of plentifulness. Tool wielder, dungeon delver, efficient power, fighting initiate, grab weapon, inspired leader. How's that work again? Bludgeoning damage. Deals bludgeoning damage. Okay. Let's see. Here. Crossbow, defensive duelist, dungeon master. Yep. No worries. No worries at all, man. You come and go as you please. My video card actually crashed, so I had to reload. Let's see. Keen Mind, Piercer, Poisoner. These are all free feats that I can take instead of learning a power home. Ooh, Shield Master. Let's look at that. You take the attack action on your turn. You can use a bonus action to try to shove a creature within 5 feet of you with your shield. If you aren't incapacitated, you can add your shield's armor class bonus to any dexterity saving throw that I make against a spell, a harmful effect that targets only me. If I am subjected to an effect that allows me to make a dexterity saving throw to take only half damage, I can use my reaction to take no damage if I'm successful with a saving throw. And fuck yeah, dude. All right, Shield Master it is. So these are all the powers that I get to choose are prepared. I can swap one on a short rest. I can swap them all on a long rest. So when I take a feat, I don't gain the stat bonus if it offers one, but I otherwise get all the stuff that it gives me. So Shield Master, that's pretty useful. Let's see. I could take Telepathic. Spends 2 mana to regain use before a long rest. Nah, let's go look at sustained powers. I only have so many. These are combat masteries, which are basically free things that I could do. You know what? Addle, target makes a Constitution saving throw. No, if I hit, how does the? If I crit, I can make attacks with advantage. If I grapple, push, step, straggle, no, half damage, trip, grapple, disarm. Target is con, can't make saves. Nah. Okay, I think I'm okay with those. I don't want any of those. Let's look at sustained powers. Okay, so you just to remind everyone, when we are using our power, when we're creating a magic paradigm, I'm going with elemental paradigm. Typically, the DM may allow you to use one type of like generic universal key to channel anything, but the way that I like to keep your power in check, as it were, I like to have 2 different types of mana. So I'm dividing Earthbending into Hammer and Anvil. So when you have 2 types of mana, sustained powers can be used with any mana. And then I pick 2 disciplines, in this case strikes and reactions as Hammer, and then I use exploits and maneuvers as Anvil. So if I'm going to use Anvil mana, if I want to use an exploit or a maneuver and spend mana on it, then I would use Anvil mana. If I want to use a strike or a reaction, then I would use hammer mana. And anytime I use a sustain power, I can pull from any pool that I want. So being able to strike for free is really useful. Being able to use maneuvers for free is useful. If I really want to, only exploits, strikes, and sustain powers have to cost mana. And I can channel up to second rank, which means I can have up to 2 mana worth of sustained powers active at a time, but only up to 2. So, and of course if I take damage, then I'm gonna have to make Constitution saving throws like usual. If I make a saving throw, I have to roll a 12 or better, 10 plus the amount of mana that I'm using to sustain effects. If I fail that saving throw, I dump my mana and I lose it. So, but otherwise it works just like concentration, like half the damage that you take, minimum of whatever your minimum channel limit is. Like 12, like if I'm sustaining 2 mana, then it's half damage or 12, whichever is higher. So let's look at what is available to us. And again, I can swap these out on a short rest or a long rest. This is just what I want right now. So, Deadly Presence, when this power is sustained, and I'm not restrained, stunned, or paralyzed, or incapacitated, any creature that I see that begins its turn or move within reach of my melee weapon attack takes a power die of damage per mana sustained. So if I put on 2 mana, anything that's within reach of my weapon, as long as I still have the ability to move, is automatically going to take 2d8 damage if I decide to maintain 2 mana. If I want a giant growth with 2 mana, I could grow to large size, occupy a 2x2 space, increase my reach by 5 feet, and automatically add a power die of damage when making an attack roll. It's also super useful. Opportunist, there's a lot of cool shit in here. Opportunist, while this power is sustained, when I take the attack action, I can forgo any number of attacks during my turn to gain an equal number of additional opportunity attacks, plus the reaction that I normally have. So as a 5th level fighter, I could sustain Opportunist, forgo my attacks, and have 3 reactions that I could also use any powers with that would trigger as a result of hitting during that opportunity attack. And there's a shitload of reactions in here that count as opportunity attacks. Like, for example, moving target. As a reaction to when a creature you can see moves into or within the reach of your melee weapon, you can make an opportunity attack, even if the target is using the disengage action or the movement is forced. Rolling 1 power die per mana, adding the highest result to my attack roll. So if I'm maintaining Opportunist, and your friend, if your friendly Warlock uses Repelling Blast and pushes an opponent through my space, if I have moving target active and Opportunist attack active, then if he punches 2 targets through my space, I can hit both of them. And I'd have to spend 2 points of mana to be able to trigger this, so it's expensive as hell. So stuff gets expensive quick. So these are like higher level stuff. You can start stacking stuff up. It gets really pricey. So I'm going to try to stay with less, like, lower costing stuff. Like, for example, something that I like a lot is first rank. Where are you? Rogue Stance. You can use a bonus action to dash, disengage, or dodge. You literally gain cunning action. So Rogue Stance is a really useful one, especially for a dwarf. Rogue Stance. Sus 1. So while I'm sustaining, as long as I have 1 mana tapped, I have Rogue Stance, so I can always use my bonus action to dash, disengage, or dodge if I need it. I don't have to have it active. It's just, and I can activate a sustain power as an action or a bonus action as well, but I can't reduce the cost on it. Saving Grace. When sustaining this power, I have advantage on saving throws of 1 ability of my choice. I can channel it multiple times, choosing a different ability score with each channeling. Trap Springer. With this power sustained, I gain advantage on intelligence, investigation, and wisdom perception checks to notice traps. I automatically understand the general nature of any trap revealed this way, and I gain advantage on intelligence and dexterity checks using tools I'm proficient with to disarm the trap. That's really useful. While sustaining his power, gain advantage on intelligence and wisdom checks. Boy, God, there's so much useful shit in here. But that's level 2. So I want to try to stay low level. Power armor, power shield. I can create a defensive field of power that creates a shield for me, but I have to sustain it to do so. I become proficient with it. Omnilinguist. Fast, inspired skill. While sustaining his power, I gain proficiency in a skill or tool of my choice. I can channel this power more than once simultaneously, choosing a different skill or tool while channeling. I'm going to go with inspired skill because it makes me a jack of all trade. I think that's all the sustained powers I'm going to want for now. This would allow me, like, I could pick up inspired skill, and then I could pick up Trap Springer, so I could gain proficiency in Thieves' Tools. And then I could take Trap Springer. While this power is sustained, I'd have advantage to use those tools to be able to disarm traps. So I'm tempted, and if we have a rogue in the party, I can dump all these and replace them. But if we don't have a rogue in the party, amazingly useful. That leaves me with 2 powers left. Let's look at some strikes. And then I got to battle out of here. My day is my time on stream is going to be over. I got Distracting Strike for free. Oh, I love life stealing. So your weapon deals damage. Your weapon damage increases by 1 power die per mana burned. In addition, you gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the result of the power dice rolled. Any temporary hit points that remain when you start a short or long rest are lost. Life stealing is just a real obvious pick-me. It might be so strong that I might have to push it up to second to sustain 2. Strike 1. So basically, if I hit with my first attack, I don't have anything better to do. I can forgo my second attack and get a D8, a free D8 worth of temporary hit points to stack up my buff to defend myself. And now I need 1 more. Do I want another strike? There's a lot of them. Your damage restraining strike is useful. The creature is restrained by magical tethers. Like if I'm using earthbending magic, right? The restraining strike, it would be like the earth grabs hold and holds their feet until they can break free of it. Shocking strike, you can deal lightning damage and add 1 power die per mana burned. The creature cannot take opportunity attacks until the end of its next turn. That's really useful. Oh my god, Thundering Strike is so good. Your weapon can deal thunder damage and adds 1 power die per mana burned. A creature up to 1 size larger than you is pushed back directly from you up to 10 feet away for each point of mana burned. Really, really tempted. Oh, man. I am running out of shit to do. Thundering Strike is also... let's go STR1. First rank strikes is basically what that says. These are super... this one is optional. Inspired Skill is just useful no matter what. Trap Springer is an alt. I might decide to swap that one out on rests, or I could swap it out altogether if I don't need it. So let's see if there's another maneuver in here that I like. This is really useful that I can swap these out like during like if we're not doing combat, if we're like in a social situation or doing exploration without any real risk of combat. I could swap out one of my strikes or a feat and then add in, like I could use this like only if I'm in a social circumstance, so I could like get Inspired Skill for like say Persuasion or Intimidation if I wanted to. So that one's customizable or conditional use depending as I need it. Trap Springer. What would I replace Trap Springer with? Let's look at some of these maneuvers. See if there's something cool in here that I want. I already have Coordinated Attack. Coordinated Dash is you can empower an ally that you can see or hear per mana burned. For 1 creature per mana burned, they can use their reaction to move up to half their speed without provoking attacks of opportunity. With a 10-foot pole. Let's see. Flatten. Choose a creature you see. It takes a power die of damage, and if it fails its strength saving throw, it's knocked prone. And it can end the prone condition after a successful strength save at the start of its turn. Goad. Goad is really useful. Target creature that you can see and that can see and hear you makes attacks against creatures other than you with disadvantage until it successfully hits me, or it succeeds in intelligence saving throw at the end of its turns. That's really. And then Rally is me or an ally that I can see gains a number of temporary hit points equal to the total of 1 power die rolled for each point of mana burned. It's basically Rally is like you gain life steal. There you go. Get some hit points. Jesus Christ, those are all so good. Let's go with Goad is so good. Goad is maneuver 1, and Rally, swift attunement, swift resuscitation, vanish. You become invisible until the beginning of your next turn. I love that. That's really, really cool. But not the flavor I'm looking. If I vanish, I turn invisible, then my allies can't benefit from my maneuvers because they can't see me. There's a trade-off there. Let's see. Creature intelligence saving throw to end the effect. Goat is really good. Let's see. Flatten. Let's go with Flatten. So I can do Flatten for free as long as I'm willing to give up an attack per round using a bonus action. Goad can be free if I'm willing to give up an attack and use my bonus action. Lifesteal can trigger anytime I hit as an opportunity attack or a normal attack if I'm willing to spend a point. If I use that as an attack and it's my first hit, I can give up my second attack to make it free to use as long as it's only 1 mana. If I decide to channel 2 mana, I can reduce the cost by 1, so it only costs me 1 mana, which is useful. Thundering Strike, same thing. If I only use 1 mana, it's my first attack, it's free. Otherwise, I can channel up to 2 mana. It'll push somebody 10 feet per mana spent, even if the reduced cost by channeling by surrendering an attack roll, it's still, if I spent 2 mana, it would still be considered 2 mana spent. So I would effectively only spend 1 mana, but could push something 20 feet, which is useful if there's obstacles or something I want to mess people up with. There we go. So I'm going to put in little swap buttons here for something I might swap out during rests, depending on what the team needs. But that's my 5th level character. So aside from being a normal fighter, this is all the shit that I can do on top of it. And as long as I'm using my action economy well, I can always do these maneuvers and strikes. The sustained, once it's on, it can stay on. And if I want to lock it, I don't have to maintain concentration on it anymore, but it reduces the amount of mana that I can use. So like Rogue Stance, like if I activated both Trap Springer and Rogue Stance, it would tie up 2 of my mana, and it effectively reduces the amount of mana I can channel to 0. But I can get around that by surrendering attacks to drop the cost of mana to 0. So I could lock both of those sustained powers. I would no longer have to maintain concentration on them, but I would not be able to spend mana at all unless I have a way to make the cost of that mana 0. So I could still channel a second rank maneuver by surrendering both of my attacks and spending my bonus action. That would reduce the cost of using that maneuver in that instant to 0, which would get around the locked channels. So it's techie. It's got a lot of techie. It's got a lot of levers that you can pull, but you don't have to use any of them if you don't want to. If you don't like heavy techie stuff like this, you could honestly just pick up 6 extra feats. So like if you don't want to have to think about it, you just want to have like a super tough fighter, then just pick up a shitload of feats and don't worry about it. You're done. But if you like the techie stuff and if you like cheating the system, if you like moving mana around, then this will allow you to scratch that itch. And of course, the DM can use all these powers to build out specific specific challenges. And if you check out the document down here, you can see we have random tables for creating power gear, which is magic items. DM section, limiting access to power. We can create limits of access. So that, like if you want to limit access of power, you could, like, a rogue has access to exploits, reactions, and strikes. So if it wanted to learn a sustained or maneuver, it would have to learn it twice to gain access to it, for instance. And then there's magic paradigms, which I still need to build up the chapter to make it sound smart. Here are kits that you can give monsters, depending on what rank they are. You can give them access to more stuff. So, like, they could always use double strike. They could always use explosive strike. Or once per encounter, sorry, they can use double strike or explosive strike. Like, they always use range assault. So they have infinite mana. Once per round, they could use phase attack to ignore cover. And then once per round, as a maneuver, they can make a bonus attack. If it's a brute instead, so we have these kits for 4th edition rolls that a creature can have. If you want your beholder to be an artillerist, then you can just give it this stack of stuff while it's making attacks with its eye stalks. If you wanted to make your beholder a controller while it's using its eye stalks, it gains access to all this cool stuff like anchor. You can't teleport or move while you're hit with anchor. Countering attack, it looks at you, and even though it might not be its invisible, its dispelling eye, it would prevent you from being able to, if it hits you with an ice stalk, it would disrupt your spell, for instance. And then there's kits for making unique creatures. Depending on what their CR scale is, determines what rank they are. Creatures use a D4, D6, D8, D10, D12, which is more than the D6, D8, D10 that the characters have, so it's a wider array to add more challenge. And here's the number of powers that they know. And so you can just go through the book, and you could, like, I want to make a unique ogre mage boss fight. Ogre mages are CR 6, I think, so it could have up to 3rd rank. It uses a D8 power die, and you could select any 4 powers from the list above to make your ogre mage unique for the encounter, and create your own action loops and like trap systems that set up cascading mana effects. But these are things that they can use at will. They don't have to worry about mana supplies. They can just, because they're only gonna last like 3 rounds. So just let them do cool shit, and then here's some examples of, like, a minion skeleton having a bonus attack, and then having rogue stance. So, like, this skeleton can dash, dodge, and disengage. So it's like it's like Jason and the Argonauts, like, fast, dangerous skeleton instead of a slow, clunky one. Boss fight ogre, here you go. Extended attack, it can hit further away. If it hits you, it automatically grapples you. And while it's grappling you, it deals extra damage. Super cool stuff. Here's a T-Rex that can, like, tripping strike with its tail. It can hold you down and gnaw on you. If it grabs you with its bite, you're restrained and it grapples you. Anything that tries to move anywhere near it, it can snatch up with a bite. Boss fight beholder. So yeah, all this stuff is in here, and these are just some examples. But if this is popular, I could go through the entire monster manual and rebuild every creature in the monster manual using these powers to give them unique edges to make the fight interesting, and build additional kits. So just another cool thing we can do. But that's my fighter. There you go. It has the hammer and anvil magic as a unique on-the-fly improvised magic system that we created just using the basic mechanics of magic paradigms. As an earthbender, Dwarven Earthbender specifically, hammer and anvil just makes a lot of sense. I like the aesthetics of that, even though I don't necessarily know how to express it yet. I have a week to think about it, so I'm excited about letting that kind of stir around in my head for a little while. Here's the maneuvers that I always have, and here's some that I got to choose for today to use. I could swap these out on a short or long rest. One on a short rest, all of them on a long rest because they're prepped, not learned. Mana supply, there you go. Battlemaster maneuvers. The Crusher feat that I picked up, my stat array, my skills. This guy's pretty fucking good for a 5th level character, man. I'm looking forward to the test. Very, very much looking forward to the game. So, but that's it for now. I gotta bail. I'll be back tomorrow morning. It's my Saturday morning workbench. I'm going to be making environmental tokens for Spelljammer and uploading those into the zip file and updating that over the weekend. So if you guys want to hang out with me tomorrow morning, it'll be from 9:30 Pacific time till about 11:30, a 2-hour stretch. And then I'll be back Monday morning to do more Eberron stuff. Monday afternoon during lunchtime, we'll continue allocating creatures to the different colors of land in the Hexcrawl Rubble Belt campaign that we're building. And Monday night, we'll continue with the Spelljammer Vocas Battle Crab. So if you think this stuff's cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, get notifications of when I'm around in the future. And I hope that I get to. So, right on, man. Hey, Super, thanks for hanging out, my guy. I'll see you guys later.